All right. Good morning. Morning. I'm like a tomato. Good morning, guys. Yeah, long weekend. Oh, man. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I'm definitely recovering a little bit, so just getting my morning waters in. Went over to Miami this weekend. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed the holiday weekend. But now it's time to lock in. Time to get the business. So we got a short week, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we have to remember that. Obviously, yesterday market was closed. But we did get futures to move, right? So something, if you guys are not familiar, futures do still move when the market is closed, right? So you still get the movement on the NQ and the ES, and we saw that yesterday, right? So we saw that nice upside yesterday on the futures in the late, when futures start around 6 p.m. yesterday, and then we got a really clean rejection, just a really monster rejection overnight into this morning. And I want to show you guys that. That is going to be our key to look at today, the rejection that we saw on the futures. And they were at perfect levels. I mean, it was This the perfect levels on both the NQ and the ES. Where they rejected, where the rejection came in, was the exact levels that we needed to see hold below, and we got it. This morning, you're coming down into some major supply or major demand around 11.5 on the NASDAQ and 3,800 on the ES. And as I speak, it is breaking down pretty aggressively. Just watching this start to break down. So, definitely a lot to look at today. Definitely looks on the weak side right now. Chip stocks have been getting crushed, and they still look like they're getting beat. Nvidia is down quite a bit in the pre-market, down about $4 or $5 a share. So chip stocks are continuing to be the weakest sector here. So a lot to look at today, guys. We'll prepare ourselves the best we can. We got the economic earnings calendar we got to look at. We got everything. So let's get this week started. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Back to the market, back to business. Let's do it. So, first things first, let's pull up the calendar. 1 second. Just getting everything prepared here. Press the like button if you want. All right. So, today, futures, as always, economic earnings calendar, which I will pull up right now for us to sort of look at and see what we got on the week, got on the docket. So, here it is, guys. Obviously, yesterday, Independence Day, market was closed. This morning, factory orders, core capital equipment orders. Good to see how that sort of comes in. This is going to get us an idea on the demand. So keep an eye on that around 10 a.m. I don't expect that big of a move on that side. Tomorrow is the big one, right? FOMC minutes, right? That's big. That's Jerome Powell. Or it's not. There's not going to be an actual speech. It's the minutes. So we get a press release of what the Fed talked about on their previous Fed meeting. I wouldn't expect there to be big changes, but this is definitely going to we're probably going to hear some talk about whether they go. There was some talk about a full point on the Fed funds rate increase. So we'll see if they talk about that in the FOMC minutes. We'll see what their sort of feel on the market is on inflation. It's definitely going to be market moving. So we definitely need to be aware of tomorrow at 2 o'clock. That's going to be big, right? So 2 o'clock FOMC minutes tomorrow. This is not a speech from Jerome Powell. This is simply a press release from what was talked about on the previous Fed meeting. So we get a little bit of insight into that. That is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thursday, jobless claims, normal stuff. Fed James Bullard speaking. And then Friday, normal stuff. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings. That's our normal Friday, Thursday type of economic news. So the big one is tomorrow, FOMC minutes, 2 o'clock. That's definitely something we have to watch out for. Okay, we'll take a look at Tesla consolidation. There's a very defined channel on Tesla, and there's going to be a move to either direction, either to the downside or upside. It's going to create a trading opportunity, and we definitely, as traders, need to be aware of this channel. This is going to definitely present us some opportunity to obviously make some money. So definitely watch Tesla. Semis are really weak. Nvidia, AMD, TSM, Qualcomm, all looking relatively weak versus the market. We have to watch this. This is something we need to continue to monitor. Microsoft holding up pretty well. It's holding a pretty nice demand level around 254. I want to share with you guys that. Apple, 138, very key level. I'm sure you guys remember me talking about this level. We are back at it today. So this is a must hold for Apple. Boeing. We've talked about the supply that Boeing has around 142. This is still a watch for me. It's not quite giving me the downside move, but it is definitely still showing the rejection, and I want to make sure everyone here is still aware of that. Costco, XLP has had some nice outperformance. We've seen it last week, end of last week. We'll see if that money still flows into the XLP, into the defensive sectors. XLP is the consumer staples. This is where money typically flows when the market is under some pressure. It's not quite as strong as we've once seen, but it does look like it's outperforming in some sense. So stocks like Costco, stocks like Walmart, stocks like P&G, these defensive names, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, want to make sure we watch these this week, see what happens there. Amazon, 108, and Roku, 85. Two other levels that I'm watching here for some potential plays. So that's what I have. Let me quickly go over to the The Google Docs. Let me make sure that's all cleaned up for you guys. I didn't have time this morning to do that, so I'll do that real quick. If you guys want to put the tickers that you want to look at, feel free to go ahead and do that right now so we can look at those at the end of the stream. If you have access to the Google Docs, it is now ready for you guys to sort of enter your tickers to look at today. So make sure to do that so we can look at it at the end of the week, or the end of the stream. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go to the futures. So, what happened last night, right? This is the first thing we need to look at. What happened last night on the futures? Well, you can clearly see this is my chart on the futures. This is the same chart I've had since last week. I did not change a thing here. I had no time, right? I came in this morning around 6 a.m. and started to review the things that were going on from this weekend. You can clearly see the rejection that came in right here, right, guys? There is really really not much convincing I need to do, and it's pretty clear. It's clear as day. You can see the rejections all at this 11,750. 1, 2, 3, 4, and look at last night, guys, right there at 750. If I go to the 1 minute chart, I'm gonna go back to that time period. Look at this push, which I have no idea why we pushed this much. I haven't caught up to whether there was something that caused this. This is pretty ridiculous. You can see right here. All I care about is the fact that look at that rejection. Look at how insanely strong that rejection was right at 750. I mean, it was $1 off the 750 level. You can clearly see the rejection that came in, and you can clearly see what's happening this morning. So that is you really can't be very bullish if the Nasdaq is below 750, because you just watched it reject 5 times over the past 2 weeks at the exact same level. It is very hard for me to be bullish when the Nasdaq is trading below this level of supply. So that is clear as day. I like that because it gives me some pretty nice confidence on the next move. Next, you're looking at a short-term bear flag here. This is your longer-term bear flag that I drew out last week. You can see we broke down. If I delete that, you are now looking at a potential shorter-term bear flag here. You can see we moved higher with some volume, and we rejected a flat top. That is the stages of a bear flag. You can see we broke down under that bear flag this morning, and we are below a pretty important support level around 11.5. Right? If I go to the 30-minute chart, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the 4 hour. Yeah, it's sort of best seen on the hourly. So here's the hourly. You can see there was some previous support at the 11.5 level. I'm just zooming in for you guys. You can see right here, right? 11.5, 11.5, 11.5, 11.5. And we can see we tried to bounce off it this morning as well, right here, 11.5. So 11.5 broke through this morning as we speak. You can see we broke that 11.5. In my opinion, if this stays below 11.5, you're going to see these next levels get tested, right? So Tuesdays, Fridays lows, which are around 11.4, 11.350, right in this general area. You guys can see these wick lows that came in last week. I would assume we try to test those. And if we lose that, then you're looking at 11.3, right? And 11.3, you have to zoom out to see. Let me get more time here, and I'll show you what the 11.3 is. So if I go to the 4 hour chart, here's the 4 hour, and you can clearly see the next level of pretty decent demand is down at 11.3. All here, 11.3, 11.3, 11.3, 11.3, and 11.3, right? So very clear. 11.3 is your demand. You have to hold above that. 11.750 is your clear supply. You are in this range. If you zoom out and you look at the longer term time frame, this is the range that you continue to trade in. You can see, could be Drew. Yeah, could definitely be a nice little head and shoulder, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Pretty nice, right? Pretty crazy rejections here at 11.750. Clear as day. A little bit of a head and shoulder there as well, as Drew pointed out. So, Dad G, you continue to come in here and look for bottoming formations. If I could give you just some friendly advice, I would stop looking for bottoming formations. It's just not the market to be trying to find a bottom in. It's not going to work for you. Until you see something very clear, I would not look for bottoming formations. Yeah. So you can clearly see the rejections here at 11,750. You can clearly see the 11.5 breakdown this morning. My idea for today, if I was to show you my game plan, this is what I'd look for, guys. I would look for a push back into 11.5 and a rejection at that level. That would be your most bearish situation. That would be your most bearish setup today. If you push back into 11.5 this morning and you find a rejection there, that would be my play. That would be a gorgeous play to the downside. Little bull trap this. Oh, wow. Futures just took a hit there. Little bull trap this morning. Bull trap into 11.5. Show the rejections. Start to play your puts and get that rejection off 11.5. That would be ideal. Not sure it's going to happen, but that is definitely what I'm going to be monitoring. If we just continue out of the gates to the downside, I would be watching Thursdays and Fridays lows, guys. That's right around this 11.4, 11.380. That would be my next level to watch in the short term. Thursdays, Fridays lows, right here, right? Thursdays, Fridays lows. That would be the next level. So overall, guys, futures still look pretty weak. A really nasty rejection there at 750 overnight. You can clearly see that. That if you caught this with futures, guys, congratulations. I mean, that's a big win. If you took some NQ shorts off 750, and then you can sort of see the bear flag that is pretty apparent this morning. That is starting to break down. So to me, this looks weak, and the rejections are still there. ES, oof. Yeah, oof, under 3,800 on ES. So let me go to the hourly on ES, guys. Here's the ES. Here's the hourly chart. You can see we were watching this big bear flag that broke down last week. So that's definitely clear. You can see the similar head and shoulder formation, right? Head, left shoulder, potential right shoulder. Yeah, look at this. You got a little bit over it, right? You got a little bit over it up until that 38.50 level. So 38.50 was where we peaked over and then just fell right back under that 38.40. So I was watching this high, which is 38.40. I was watching this high, which was 38.40. You can see we got through it in the futures market, but quickly rejected. Right? Very quickly. This would not be considered a bear trap. A bear trap would be if the market rallied off this. This would be a bull trap, because it's bullish and then traps you, right? If that's what happens. But you can clearly see 38.50, clear rejection, sort of near that 38.40 level, big rejection point. As you guys know, 3,800 is a big level. If you're familiar with the market, if you watch the market as you should, if you watch the futures, if you understand the ES, the S&P 500, you know that 380 on the SPY or 3,800 on the ES has been a level of importance. You can see rejection, support, rejection, support, all at this 3,800 level. You can see this morning we lost 3,800. So what would you want to look for today if you want to stay bearish? If you want to see this market stay bearish, you need to see a push. You don't have to see the push, but if you see the push, you have to see it reject there, right? So you can see push to the upside, rejection off 3,800, and then the downside play. That's very similar to the same thing I'm looking for in the NASDAQ. 11.5 push, bull trap into 11.5, bull trap into 3,800, rejection off that key level, and then we can start to play to the downside, right? Waiting for this push to the upside provides us a lot more margin, for the downside play, right? It gives us a little bit more margin than just chasing the downside. We'll have to see if we get any upside out of the gates. Maybe we don't see it at all. That's always a possibility. If we don't see any upside out of the gates, I would be looking at Thursdays, Fridays lows, guys. Same thing as the NASDAQ. They're around that 37.50. So you can clearly see the breakdown. You can see this little bear flag that formed right in this general area. It's not perfect, but it is definitely an uptrend that has broken this morning. That is clear as day. Okay. The Dow had some relative outperformance on Friday, but you can clearly see the level that we're breaking. If I go to the hourly chart, it's very similar, guys, right? Very, very similar. Right here, you had a previous support, all in this zone, or actually we can start here. Previous rejections, rejection, rejection. This is the 30,800 level. Rejection, rejection, support, rejection, rejection, support, right? I'm just pointing out how important this level is. And then look at what it's doing this morning, right? Look at what it's doing this morning. Breaking that key level right here. Look at the flush under the key level this morning. So, what are you looking for in the Dow? If you want to see more downside, you are looking for a push back into 30,800, 30,850, and a rejection. If you're looking for more downside. Or you're watching Thursday, Friday's lows. Exact same thing. So watch out for that. Of course, guys, I didn't point this out, but of course, if you get back above these levels today, then, you're sort of back into that chop, right? If we go back to the ES, if you're able to reclaim 3,800, then of course, you're just back within this chop. If you're able to reclaim 11.5 on the NASDAQ, then you're just back within this chop, right? So we have to obviously understand that as well. We can't totally ignore the fact that if the market can get back above these levels, 11.5 on the NAS and 3,800 on the ES, then you're sort of right back to where we started. So that's that. Let's go to the Russell real quick. The Russell looks to be trying to hold this next demand level around 1700, really. 1705, 1700. You can see previous rejections and potential support at 1705. That has to hold. That holds, you're back into that 1680. So that's the futures, guys. Basically, to sort of recap this the best I can, you can see clear rejections at supply, breaking down this morning, breaking below a pretty major support level around 11.5. If you want to see downside, you got to see the market hold below 11.5 on the NAS and hold below 3,800 on the ES. That is what I would be watching today. If you guys want to get the levels that I look at every single day here on the live stream in a text format for free, make sure to check it out down below in the description. It says free technicals. It is a free Discord chat that I post the technicals that I do here on the futures. Same thing I do here, just do it in a text format. If you ever miss the live stream or want to look at it intraday, that is the way to look at it. All right? Let's continue. Tesla. So, very interesting consolidation here on Tesla, guys. Pretty clear, right? Pretty clear. And it's definitely going to give us some opportunity, I would think. If I zoom in here, we can clearly see as a trader, this probably should give you some excitement because you know that once Tesla breaks out of this, it's going to give us a move. And that is going to be a nice move. So are we going to get the breakdown of, again, something that's interesting. Look at this number, 666.6. The lows of these candles, this low is 666. This is 667. This is 666, 666. The low of this candle is 666. And that we know is a not a good number, right? So that's sort of interesting. It's not very hard to find. Just press the link down below. And if you are a free member of Chart, you just go to Futures Analysis, and I post it every day here, guys. Futures Analysis every single day here for free. Just press Futures Analysis. If you want to upgrade, you can get the technicals on individual stocks, but you have to upgrade for that and end-of-day recap. So, yeah, right there. So, Tesla off 666. Interesting, right? That's a little interesting. That maybe the market makers are doing some wizardry here. But yeah, anyways, you guys can see the supply or the demand down below around the 666, 660 level. And if that breaks, then we know that this is going to start to move down towards that 620. You still have this gap fill here on the Tesla chart. Maybe it wants to try to fill that gap, which is right around the 650. So if we break this consolidation to either direction, we know there's going to be a move, right? We either get this break, maybe the rejection and the downside, or if the market somehow becomes strong and Tesla can push to the upside, breaking and holding above 690 would cause your upside. These are the moves I'm interested in, right? I'll trade Tesla if I see some kind of short-term opportunity in here. I don't like to do it, and I'm very cautious of it. But when if I want to scale up, if I want to take a nice trade, if I start to see these things break of either direction, these are the trades that I want to take. the breaks of either channel, right? The time frame's up on the top left of your screen, guys. You can see it. It's zoomed in, top left of your screen. So that's Tesla. That is definitely something that's intriguing to me this week, guys. I am definitely monitoring this this channel. I would be doing the same thing if I was you. That is going to be a very juicy opportunity, in my opinion. Nvidia, weak, very weak. And why did it get weak? We talked about this. I know we talked about it in the Discord. I'm pretty sure we talked about it in here on the live stream, but we talked about the 155 demand on Nvidia for like 2 weeks now. We've said how important 155 was. It needs to hold that demand. If it loses that, there's likely to be more downside. Well, you guys can see what happened last week, right? We broke 155 on Wednesday. We tried to push into it on Thursday. We rejected it again on Thursday. And since that double top rejection, you can see how beautiful this is. Previous support into resistance. What is this? This is a break and retest rejection. That is all this is. This is previous demand turning into supply. If you can catch something like this, right? If you can catch a stock that is turning its previous demand into a supply, you are going to find a nice risk-reward trading opportunity. You might be right, you might be wrong, but what I can guarantee you is the risk-reward will be there, right? Because if you got in puts off 155, you're risking maybe, let's say, 5 or 2-3 points, and you're looking for that downside. So very clear break and retest off 155 demand. If I zoom out, you guys can see the clear importance of 155. This is a very big level. It's been since May 12th, which is about 2 months now. You can see support, support, support. And when you broke it and turned it into resistance, that is when the move occurred. So you can see very clear downside on Nvidia. If I get more time, I was showing you guys last week that we should move most likely down towards this 135 level. I don't see much support on Nvidia until 135. That is a previous double top here, and that is a double bottom here. So this is where I believe Nvidia will move down to if the chip stocks stay weak, if the NASDAQ stays weak. I think you can target that 135. That is back here from May 14th, 2021 and March 22nd, 2021. So you can see that right there. Nice rejection of 155, moving down into this gap, making new lows on the year. I think you come down to the 135 level. That's because chip stocks have been crazy weak. Let's go over our AMD now. So AMD obviously has been just as weak, if not more. And where is AMD going to, guys? I talked about this last week. AMD looks to me as it's on its way into a pretty scary area. Now, let me show you why. I'll go over this analysis once again for anyone that missed it. But if we drop 72 on AMD, it is my belief that you are going to move pretty aggressively to the downside towards 60. Now, let me show you why. Here's the volume profile on AMD. You can clearly see under 72, which is the shelf of this support. You guys can see all right here. This shelf right here around 72, which is the lows of all these candles. If we drop these lows and move within this gap, see this? See how quickly we moved up right there? I believe that if we drop 72, look at the trough in volume. You guys can see the volume profile works in peaks and troughs. So you can see peak, trough, peak, big trough, right? This is a major trough in volume on AMD right here. If we drop to 72, I think you're going to get pretty aggressive to the downside. If you follow that weakness on the chip stocks, I would watch AMD under 72 today. Watched out. That is a dangerous area. What else has a dangerous area like that? TSM. TSM has a dangerous volume trough just like this, and it is below 76 down to 60. You guys can see we had a shelf of support around this 76 in the past after a very large move to the upside, which was really based off no support. And look at the trough in volume, right? Peak, trough, peak. This is the trough that I would be watching between 76 and 60 on both TSM and AMD. These are definitely opportunities. I can't tell you whether it's going to work, but this is definitely an opportunity, and I would be watching it. Microsoft. All right, Microsoft. So Microsoft's actually slightly outperforming, which is understandable. It's Microsoft. It's a a quality name. It's going to do a little bit better than some of these crappy names, but you can clearly see this is where we need to hold on Microsoft. It's 254. This was a previous rejection, right? Right here, rejection, rejection. You break it, you come back down. Look at what it's trying to do now, right? It's trying to turn this 254 into support. So, does Microsoft hold 254? That's the question. If it doesn't, if the Nasdaq's weak, if the market makes new lows, guys, Microsoft's not going to hold it, right? We know that. But for now, it's outperforming, so we have to be careful there. If you break this, you see this little bit of an uptrend, right? A little bit of a bear flag that's starting to form. If you break the bear flag, if you break 254, that is your play to the downside, right? If you break 254 in the bear flag, you're probably looking at that 243. That's if the market really starts to move to the downside, right? You can see uptrend, 254 demand. If we break it, the bear flag and the 254 demand, then I would be looking for downside on Microsoft. If we continue to hold 254, if the market bounces, that's a nice play off 254 as well. So either way, Microsoft at this level is definitely an interesting watch. Okay, Apple. So Apple's been a pretty choppy stock lately. It's just been consolidating. I mean, look at this. It's gone nowhere for like 2 months. For me, Apple's sort of like the breath of the market lately. That's like sort of what I've been watching Apple for, just to get an idea of where the Nasdaq wants to go, get an idea of what if there's strength in tech or if there's weakness in tech. And I've sort of just been monitoring this channel. So 142 to 132 with that 138 level in the middle of it. You can clearly see that we had support here in the past, right? Support, 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 support. Very clear support there. And you can see we are trading at it right now. So 138 to me is a pretty important level. If I go to the 15-minute chart and zoom in here, look at what it did to 138 last week, right? You can clearly see rejection, 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 right? Rejection, rejection. So all these rejections at 138, and you are now trading below it. So if you are trading below a rejection point, what does that mean? That means that it is now resistance. It was support. It tried to hold it. You can see it tried to hold it here, but it failed. So you are now looking at 138 as a potential rejection point again. So if I was trading Apple, if I was seeing weakness on the Nasdaq, I would be looking for a 138 rejection and something to play just like these last plays, right? This was a play, this was a play, this was a nice play, this was a nice play, and this Friday morning was a very nice play as well, right off 138. So if you see Apple at 138, be careful of that rejection. If you want to see the market try to gain some momentum, I think you need to see Apple above 138 and hold it. So that's Apple. Boeing. So I've been monitoring this Boeing trade. It hasn't worked for me yet, and I'm not in it yet. But I am definitely still, this is on my back burner because I definitely like the opportunities here. You guys can see, let me zoom out. I know we've looked at this a lot, but let's look at it again. Just to get an idea of what's going on here. Let's go to the daily. Let's get more time. And you can see, if I zoom in here, just get this chart right for you guys. All right, cool. So you can see right here, right? You see this area, right in this general area? This is a support level in the past, 142. Now, if I go to the short-term time frames, you are seeing what's going on at 142. Let me get a little bit more time. Here's your 142 supply. And look at what's happened over the last few weeks. Rejection, 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 rejection. We tried to break through it, quickly fell under. Friday afternoon, Friday morning, rejection off 142. So we know that 142 is tough. Now, here's the thing that's not happening. You're not getting the continuation. So you have to be a little bit patient here, I think. You're not quite getting the continuation. It looks as though it's trying to hold this little 132 area. You can see it's trying to hold this 132, 130, 150. So for me, I am waiting to see this, right? This is what I'm waiting to see to get this move. I want to see the clear breakdown of previous support, turn it into resistance, then I get my entry somewhere around here, and then I play that. So the rejection's there, right? Not every supply rejection is playable, and that's what Boeing is showing us here, right? You're getting the supply rejection, it's clear as day, but you're not getting the trading opportunity yet, the bigger trading opportunity. So I would keep an eye on this. It would be something I would put on my watch list. Maybe you put an alert down here. Maybe I set an alert here, create alert at or below, let's just call it 132, so that we're aware if it starts getting into that area, right? And then we'll get alerted if we start to break down this level. I think that would be maybe the best way to do it. Ignore it until it starts to get interesting. It's something that will save you a lot of money. You know, if you just set an alert, have your level that you want to see break. When you get alerted, then you get interested again. That's what I'd be watching on Boeing. Costco. So Costco, got a little bit of story on Costco, right? Because Costco had pretty nice strength Thursday, Friday of last week, guys. We had some pretty nice volume come in and actually some pretty decent strength on Thursday, Friday. Now, I think this is off the back of some outperformance on the XLP. If I go to the daily chart here, let me go daily. Let me get a little bit more time. And let's look at the XLP daily, right? We know XLP has continued a pretty nice bounce off this support. This is a level that we watched. It's something we watched when this was down here. So it's, you're not going to catch every move, right? Like I was saying, let's look for XLP to bounce here. Is that something I would necessarily trade, like on a swing trade in this market? Not really. I'm not very comfortable swing trading calls on XLP in a market we're seeing. So is this a move that I would catch? Not really. Definitely not 10 out of 10 times on XLP. But you can clearly see it was really clear as day, right? Support, 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 support. Again, XLP held 68. Very nice bounce. You can see the outperformance on the safety names, on the consumer staples. So because of that, I am interested to see what happens at 490 on Costco. You can see Costco's been outperforming. It is creating what most would say is a bear flag. But if the XLP outperforms, I think Costco could break here. If the consumer staples get more money, if the rotation gets into the XLP, maybe we can see this. So either way, guys, this is clearly going to be an opportunity, right? You're either going to clearly see the break or you're going to see the bear flag breakdown, right? One way or another, this is getting close to an opportunity. It's not going to be able to trade in this tight consolidation forever. At some point, it is going to have to make a decision here. It's either going to do this or it's going to do this. So I am just waiting for the day when Costco really shows me its card. Costco's not quite showing me the card yet. I need to wait till I see either the bear flag break or the 490 hold and push to the upside. Either way, Costco looks to be an opportunity here. Very tight formation on the flag. I would be watching Costco this week to see if it can make a move. The thing that you need is some more XLP strength. I'll go over FedEx real quick because this is something we talked about last week. This was a nice play, guys. Congrats if you caught this. We talked about FedEx Friday morning as one of my main watches. I'll go 5-day, 5-minute. And the reason for that is that we were breaking this 225 demand, right? You can see this Friday morning. We rejected that level. And there was a nice short play here, right? Congrats if you guys caught this. I know some of you actually sent me some DMs saying that you played this. So nice job to you guys that played that. That was one of my main watches from Friday. This was the break of a previous support level right here at 225. So very nice. You're coming right back into that level though this morning, right? So what do you need to see on FedEx? It's pretty clear. You might be able to even play, right, the break and retest and another rejection here. So I would look for FedEx to stay below 225. If you stay below 225 on FedEx, then you should continue to see weakness. If you stay below this previous support, right, very clear, previous support, if you turn it into resistance here, then you're going to stay below it. That's what I would look for. All right. Amazon. So Amazon has a pretty important level here at 108. So let me zoom out. I think I looked at it on the, yeah, it's a little bit more apparent on the 15 or maybe the 30. Yeah, here's the 30. This is where I was watching it. So here's the 30 minute chart on Amazon, guys, and here's what I'm watching, right? You can see support, rejection, rejection, and support, right? So when I see multiple times of the market reacting at a level, I know it is important. I know it's an important level, and I know I can play off of it. So we know that 108 here, 108.50 had previous support. It turned into a rejection point. When it came back into it, it turned it into a rejection point. When it got over it and came back below, it tried to hold as support. Now, what is Amazon doing this morning? It is broken below that level. It is sitting right at 108. So if Amazon stays below this 108.50, then I think the bears still have control. If you stay below this 108, right, we're below a previous rejection point. So as you can see in the past, we turn this into rejections. We turn this into a rejection. So what happens if Amazon moves back up into it? There's a possibility of another rejection. So on Amazon, if the market's weak, I would be looking to play Amazon off the 108.50, 108 area, looking for that move back down to 106. That's what I'd be watching if the market is weak today. You are back below a previous rejection point. It is going to attempt to turn into a rejection again. These are the types of plays I love to take when I start to see stocks breaking key levels like this. So Amazon under 108.50, I would look for that pretty quick downside to 106. Really not much support in this range. It's just sort of a choppy market in this range. But if you can catch the puts at the top here, right, and start to play that downside, then that would be something that has good risk to reward. Okay, that's Amazon. Here's a very interesting one for you guys. Roku, clear as day. I mean, if the technicals show me everything here on Roku, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll go to the 4-hour chart because I believe this level sort of dates out to that. Actually, it probably looks, yeah, it's better on the 1 hour. Here you go, guys. Pretty clear. I mean, it's some really nice stuff on the technical side of things. What am I looking at here? Let me delete this little square. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at 85 psychological level. I'm looking at a previous rejection, a breakthrough, right? A pushback there. We back below 85. So we're back below 85, right? Now, what is it doing again? Rejection, and rejection. So what am I looking for here? If Roku drops the last week's Thursday, Friday lows, you can clearly see the resistance above, right? So I know that I have help on the downside, right? Because I know there's huge supply up here, which was a previous rejection that is now turning into a rejection again. If I go to the 15-minute chart, you can clearly see the channel and the rejections above. So if we were to break last week's lows, which would be right in this general area, let's just call it 81. Maybe we even give it to like 80 if you want to be safe. But I would say around this 81.40, maybe down to the wicks. It's a little bit choppy here, but I can clearly see the rejections here at 85. And I would be looking to see if we start to get that downside on Roku. That is definitely a watch for me. I know Roku's a weak stock. I know it's not something that's going to have much strength in a weak market. Then I think Roku could try to test the lows of this larger channel near 75 again, right? So definitely something I'm watching there, guys, on Roku. You can clearly see it. It's trying to move back to the downside. It's turning 85 into rejections, and I would be looking to play this back towards the 75. Okay, that's that. That is my main watches for today, guys. So to review the futures real quick, 11.5, you need to get above that if you want to look for upside. If we turn 11.5 into rejections today, that is a break and retest to the downside. That's bearish. If we turn 3,800 into a rejection today, that is bearish. That would be looking to the downside, right? All right. If you guys could just take 1 second out of your day, press the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new here. We are about to go into the stocks that you guys want to look at, and I will pull that up right now. So let's pull that up. Not much today, it looks like, so that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll take a light schedule. We have only 2 tickers. And then maybe if I have some time, I'll get some from the chat. All right, MRK, Merck. This is healthcare, right? Biotech, healthcare type of thing. Where are we at this morning? We're at 92. Let me get a little bit more time here. Yeah, I mean this is an interesting level for Merck. It's a little bit questionable. You can clearly see the rejections above around 95. So do you have much opportunity here? To the upside, not really. To the downside, yeah, I'd probably want to see. Let me get a little bit shorter time frame here. Let me get a little bit more time. Yeah, I'd probably want to see these last week's highs turn into rejections again, right? Right in this general area, this 92, 93 level. I'd probably want to see a rejection here again at 93. But you can clearly see it's not giving up much, right? I know you put to the downside, Merck to 90. Yeah, you might be able to play that, right? You might be able to play that last week rejection point right here. You can see rejections right here, double top. Maybe look to see if you can play that back to 90, right? So yeah, I would look for the rejections around this 92, 93. UUP down to 28 today. What is this? Bullish. What is the UUP? Sorry, guys. I don't really get involved in these ETFs. Dollar. Okay, the dollar index. I'm probably not the best person to ask on ETFs that track the dollar, to be honest, guys. This is much more economic driven than technical driven. I would focus on the economic side, the macroeconomic side of the dollar. You got the clear rejections at the 28.20 level. But if you're trading a stock like UUP, which is tracking the dollar index, you better be pretty versed in your fundamentals of the dollar and everything that affects it. So I'm not the right person to ask here, guys. I am much more of a technical trader. I couldn't tell you, the 7 to 10 different little things that are going to affect the dollar today. Not me. Not going to pretend like I know it. I'm much more of a technical trader. If you're trading the UUP, you better know your fundamentals of the dollar. So that's more important than anything. So that's my best advice for you there. Caterpillar. Caterpillar. Yeah, cat's at a big level, guys. It's like right on edge. It's sort of like just on the tightrope here of a really major level. So if I go to these just general area around 180 really is what it is. It's really all in this 180. So you can clearly see you have a previous rejection point here that turned into support, that needs to hold into support, right? This has to hold into support. 180 on CAT. So definitely watch that. 180 on Caterpillar. That is a must hold. I would be watching for that, guys. If it breaks 180 and it holds below it, which it is right now, then I would continue to look for that downside. If I zoom out, you can see the lack in consolidation, the lack in volume here that you might encounter if you drop this 180. So my next level would be right around this 150. You don't have much here between 180 and 150. So you might see that downside. CAT's a little bit of a slower mover. So if you're trying to scalp, I would probably stay away from that. Option contracts are pretty illiquid. Stock movement is pretty slow. So maybe this is something you want to swing trade. Just make sure it stays below 180 if you're playing the downside. If it gets back above 180, I'd say that trade is over. Hourly chart on Snow. Yeah, I've been watching Snow, right? Snow's been something I've been monitoring. And we can see, I was actually going to include that today, but I didn't. So let's look at it now. So what is Snow trying to do? It's trying to hold the double top from last week. All right here, right? You can clearly see the double top right here, rejection, rejection. What is it doing? It's doing a classic break and retest. So this is bullish if the market's strong. This is not bullish if the market's weak, right? This depends on the market now because it's trying its best to do its own thing, right? It's trying its best to hold a previous rejection point into support. It's trying its best to turn previous resistance into support. That's bullish, but if the market's weak, it's not going to be able to hold up. So if the NASDAQ takes a hit, this will not be able to hold up. I would look for either the break below the 138 level here for downside, or I would look, if the market's strong, for the break and retest back to 152. This is going to depend on the market now. But there is definitely an opportunity, because if you drop this previous double bottom from last week around 138, you might get that continuation. Qualcomm, I would just look for weakness with the chip stocks, guys. It's been a very ugly sector. This sector has been really weak. I talked about fading the Qualcomm upside, and I should have taken my own advice. I'm sure you guys remember this. I would hope you remember this. I came into, I think it was maybe Monday or Tuesday's live stream, saying, should we fade the Snow and Qualcomm outperformance? That was my exact words. And you can see, it looks like fading the Qualcomm outperformance was the right move. Why would Qualcomm hold up when the market is moving down and chip stocks are extremely weak? A stock like Qualcomm cannot outperform an entire sector, an entire market. So when I saw this upside on Qualcomm, I got very interested in fading that move. I didn't do it because I was sort of just trading things that I'm used to and, you know, making money and getting out. But this was nice, right? This was nice. So congrats if anyone takes some things away from the live stream. If you faded Qualcomm's upside like we talked about, you made a nice little chunk of money there. It's probably over, the opportunity. But yeah, I mean, if the chips stay weak, I would look for the break of lows. 118, 119. All right, I got two more, Zen and Low. Zen and LOW. Zendesk. Looks like there's some kind of I mean, I don't know what the hell happened here. Is this getting bought out or something? Okay, it has a deal. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be trading in something that's getting bought out, guys. It's getting bought out. It's probably at the right value. You can look what it's done for the last, guys. Well, who's looking at this? This is what it's done for a week. It's getting bought out. I would not touch this. Wait for something to happen. Yeah, no. Not interested in that. The stock's getting bought out. Lows. So Lowe's, let's go daily chart. Actually, weekly, actually. So here's what Lowe's is trying to do, guys. If you zoom out, you can see it. It's trying to hold this weekly 172, 170 area, right? Right here. Lows, 172, 170. Trying to hold as demand. Previous rejections into support. Do you play the upside? No, you don't. This is, so like this market, like if we were in a bullish market, guys, this is an absolutely gorgeous opportunity, right? If you're in a bullish market, you buy here off demand, and you probably have a really high chance of this, a potential hold and upside. But in a market that just, you guys can see what's been happening, right? You see the downtrend. I don't need to explain this to you, right? Look at how strong that downtrend is. You got to wait till it shows something, right? You have to remember at points like this that you are not missing out on anything if you just wait for it to be bullish. Just wait for it to be bullish, right? Wait for it to show you this. Wait for it to start doing this. Then jump in on it when it twitches the bullish. Don't try to be the hero that buys it here, that hopes that it holds, right? In a bearish market. In a bearish market, you don't buy here and you hope that it moves up. You wait, right? You wait to see it form support. You wait for some higher lows, higher highs. Then you jump onto the momentum, really. But in this market, you just can't buy these lows without confirmation, because it can always go lower. And we have been proved, right? If you bought, let's say you bought this one, right? Let's say you bought this support. Let's say you bought it at this support. How many times are you going to lose before you say, okay, maybe I should wait for confirmation, right? That's the key thing to take away from something like that. For a play like that, you got to wait for that confirmation, in this market especially. All right, guys, that's all I got. If you could press the like button, subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. I hope you guys have a great start to your week. Make sure to stay focused today. If it's a long weekend, if you had, long weekend, make sure to give yourself some time to get used to the movements. Make sure to watch the market. 11.5 on the NASDAQ, 3,800 on the ES. Let's take a few good trades today. Get out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Focus on what you're looking at. Focus on risk management and staying patient. Best of luck, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.